America built the most powerful industrial machine in history, then tore it apart, factory by factory, city by city, not from war, not from collapse, from a choice, made in boardrooms, celebrated in business schools. The same choice that's now destroying the middle class, hollowing out entire states, and handing global power to the one country that saw this coming. This is how America deindustrialized itself. And we're just now realizing what we gave away. 1945, war ends. American factories are unstoppable. More steel than everyone else combined. More cars, more machines, more everything. Detroit builds a car every single minute. Pittsburgh runs steel furnaces around the clock. This isn't just production, it's power. Real power. The kind you can't fake. For 30 years, that power makes America untouchable. Then something changes, something nobody talks about yet. The 1970s hit. Factory workers want raises. Unions demand benefits. Regulations cost money. And American executives start noticing something across the Pacific. Countries where labor costs a tenth as much, where regulations barely exist, where workers will do the same job for almost nothing. A dangerous question starts spreading through boardrooms. Why make it here when we can make it there? The first. Closures are small. A shoe factory in Massachusetts, a textile plant in Carolina. Just market adjustments, they say. Nothing to worry about. But something else is happening. Something nobody sees coming. America isn't just losing factories. It's losing something way more valuable, the knowledge of how to make things. When a factory closes, the workers lose more than jobs. They lose skills that took decades to develop. The engineer who can calibrate a steel furnace, the machinist who works to 1,000th of an inch. That knowledge doesn't transfer, it vanishes. And once it's gone, almost impossible to get back. But executives in the 1980s don't care. They're watching spreadsheets, and the numbers look beautiful. Move production overseas. Keep the brand. Keep the design. Let someone else handle the messy work of actually making things. Profits up, costs down. It's genius on paper. So the factories keep closing. Steel mills in Pennsylvania go dark. The Rust Belt starts rusting for real. Entire cities built around single industries watch those industries disappear, and economists promise the same thing. Don't worry, this is progress. We're moving to a service economy. Factory jobs are the past. The future is finance, technology, innovation. Americans will design, other countries will build. We keep the valuable parts, the creative parts. Sounds reasonable, sounds like the future. But nobody's asking the obvious question. What happens when the countries building our stuff learn to design it too? 1990s. China joins the World Trade Organization. Game over. American companies get access to the largest manufacturing base on Earth. Cheap labor, compliant government, infrastructure being built at impossible speed. Too good to resist. Nike moves production. Apple outsources everything. Every major brand starts shifting to China, and China makes them an offer they can't refuse. You want to build here? Sure. But you share your technology. You train our engineers. You show us everything. American companies agree because quarterly earnings look too good. They're handing over the blueprints, the processes, decades of accumulated knowledge. But it's fine, right? China's just the factory, not a threat, a partner. Then something nobody predicted happens. China stops just copying, starts creating. Chinese engineers trained by American companies, they leave, start their own firms, build their own brands. Factory workers who assembled American products, they learned the entire supply chain, every component, every process. And China realizes what America forgot. The country that makes things controls things, not just manufacturing, the whole ecosystem. Suppliers, materials, logistics, the entire innovation pipeline. China starts moving up the value chain, fast. But America's still not worried. 2008, financial crisis, banks collapse, economy craters, millions lose jobs, and suddenly people start asking uncomfortable questions. Where are those replacement jobs we were promised? Where's the service economy that was supposed to save us? The answer is brutal. Some people move to service jobs, but service jobs pay way less. Retail workers don't make what steel workers made. No benefits, no security. The wealth didn't spread. It concentrated at the top, with executives who moved production overseas, with investors who profited from cheaper labor. The workers, the factory towns, nothing. Then 2020 hits. COVID exposes everything. America can't make masks, can't produce ventilators. The country that built Liberty ships faster than Germany could sink them can't manufacture basic medical equipment because the factories are gone, the supply chains are gone, the knowledge is gone. But it's worse than that. The US military starts doing inventory. Most electronics in American weapons, made overseas, often in China. Semiconductors that run everything from phones to missiles. Almost all made in Taiwan and China. If war breaks out, American weapons depend on adversaries. This wasn't supposed to happen. So can we bring it back? Biden administration tries. CHIPS Act, massive spending, incentives for factories. But here's the problem. It's not about building factories. It's rebuilding the entire ecosystem. You need suppliers, trained workers, engineers who understand production. All of that disappeared over 40 years. China spent 4 decades building the world's most advanced manufacturing base. Not just factories, everything, supply chains, training systems, the complete infrastructure, while America celebrated the service economy. And here's what nobody wants to admit. This wasn't an accident, it was a choice. American companies chose short-term profits over long-term strength, chose cheaper labor over American workers, chose quarterly earnings over national security, and the government cheered them on. Because everyone believed making stuff doesn't matter, that factories are old economy, that America could stay rich forever just by designing and financing, while someone else did the actual work. They were catastrophically wrong. So why does this matter now? Because the world is shifting. The pandemic exposed the fragility, the dependence. Rising tensions with China make it terrifyingly clear. America handed its industrial base to its biggest rival, and getting it back is like unbreaking a mirror. You can try, but it's never the same. Here's what people miss. Manufacturing isn't about jobs. It's about power. The country that makes things controls supply chains, dominates technology, has leverage. When America made everything, it had leverage over everyone. Now China makes everything and has the leverage. Want rare earth minerals? China controls 80%. Need semiconductors? Made in Taiwan, which China claims. Want cheap goods? China sets the prices. The country that makes your stuff owns you. America forgot that for 40 years. But there's something deeper. Deindustrialization didn't just kill jobs, it killed communities. When a factory closes, entire towns collapse. The diner, the stores, the schools, everything. And those towns don't recover. They hollow out, fill with despair. The opioid epidemic maps perfectly to deindustrialized regions. Political polarization tracks economic displacement. When you destroy people's ability to make a living, they stop believing in the system. America is learning that lesson now. Here's the terrible truth. America didn't lose manufacturing to China, gave it away, voluntarily, enthusiastically. Because decision makers cared more about stock prices than industrial capacity, believed services could replace manufacturing. Thought design was more valuable than production. Dead wrong. Now America wants to rebuild what it destroyed. But rebuilding takes decades. And America might not have decades. Because here's what's happening right now. China isn't just making things, it's innovating faster. Electric vehicles? China dominates? Solar panels? China controls the market? 5G? Chinese companies lead. The next generation of tech isn't being invented in Silicon Valley and made in China. It's being invented and made in China. That was impossible. America was supposed to stay ahead through innovation. But innovation doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens where things are made. Engineers need to be near factories. The feedback loop between design and manufacturing drives innovation. When you separate them, design in America, build in China, innovation moves to the building. And that's exactly what happened. So the question isn't whether America made a mistake. Obviously it did. The question is whether it's reversible. Can you rebuild after 40 years of decline? Can you retrain a workforce that lost manufacturing skills? Can you recreate supply chains that took decades to build? Maybe. If America commits trillions, sustains effort for decades. But here's the bigger problem. Does America even want to? Because deindustrialization wasn't just policy, it was cultural. America stopped valuing making things, stopped respecting factory work. Everyone wanted tech jobs, finance jobs, clean, prestigious careers. Nobody wanted manufacturing. That was failure. And until that changes, until America remembers that making things matters, the decline continues. The factories are gone. The skills are gone. The supply chains are gone. What remains is the choice. The same choice that created this mess. Does America value production? Or just consumption? Make things, or just buy them? Long-term strength, or short-term profits? Can't have both. China chose production. Long-term thinking. Building. Now it's reaping rewards. America chose differently. Now it's paying. The factory that ate itself. That's what America became. Not destroyed by enemies, not defeated in war, self-consumed, by greed, by short-term thinking, by believing making things doesn't matter. The question isn't whether America can rebuild. It's whether America remembers why it should. Because the country that makes things makes the future. America spent 40 years handing that future away. Now it wants it back. But wanting isn't enough, and time is running out.